Welcome back to another AFL redraft. This is the series where I go through previous AFL drafts and redraft the top 10. This time we are doing the 2007 AFL draft. Before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe. You can watch the 2000, this, and this draft on my YouTube channel, so check those out. And let's get straight into 10th place. I have got a man who was drafted originally to the Dogs. He's most famous probably for his time at GWS. I've gone with Callum Ward. Now, Callum Ward was originally picked at pick number 19 by the Dogs, so, not too far away from pick 10. If he had have gone at 10th place, he would have gone to the Adelaide Football Club. Would he have stayed at Adelaide? I'm not too sure, but the reality is Callum Ward, he's a leader, which, is an important part. The redrafts we do here, it's got nothing to do with the best players. I mean, I guess it does, but it's more so looking at it, if you have to draft these players in order, who would you draft? And that relates to the importance of their position, the importance of, them as a leader, for example, what attributes are they given? It's not strictly just the best 10 players, it's more so if you had to build a team around that particular player, which player would it be and why? So we're going with Callum Ward at 10. Like I said, he's a leader, leads by the front, very good midfielder. He's been a consistent midfielder for 10, 15 years. I mean, 2007, that's a fucking long time ago. Most of the players in this draft have retired. Yeah, I think he's an absolute quality player. Never won a All-Australian, which, begs the question, does he deserve to be in the team? But you know what? Let's be real. He's a really good player and he suits 10th place. In 9th place, I have got a famous Kangaroos defender. I've got Scott Thompson. Now, Scott Thompson was originally picked at pick 37, so not super low down the draft. If he had gone to pick 9, he would have gone to the St Kilda Football Club, where he probably would have been a one-club player, like he was at North Melbourne. What a guy. What an absolute player. He's won the All-Australian, so that's an accolade to his name. Obviously, a brilliant key defender, one of the most consistent key defenders during that period at the North Melbourne Football Club, where they made prelims and after prelims. Really impressive player. Unfortunately, doesn't get the recognition because he plays for a smaller club who never won a grand final or got close to a grand final, unfortunately. But the reality is he is an absolutely phenomenal player. Retired relatively recently, the last 2-3 years. The body of work, that's a big word in this series, body of work. What body of work has your player done? And he's done a lot. Now, let's move on to 8th place, who I've got someone whose career was going really well until it wasn't going really well. I've got Jack Steven. Now, Jack Steven, originally pick 42, went to St Kilda. If he had have gone at pick 8, he would have gone to the Brisbane Lions. Now, the Brisbane Lions in 8th place chose Lockie Henderson instead. I'm not going to tell you who pick 9 and 10 were originally because they'll come later on in my draft, so let's not spoil that. But Jack Steven, I mean, what an absolute terrible story. He was such a good player. I mean, if he had just done, half of what he did at St Kilda at Geelong, he would have been higher in this list. I mean, he's actually quite unfortunate to go all the way down at 8th. In these redrafts, I tend to favor key position players, so I've got some controversial picks further down the line, but purely because he's not a key position player, I didn't put him as high. He was sort of that kind of original hybrid of a, explosive forward and an explosive midfielder, like the Dustin Martins, the Petrarcas, those sorts of players, the De Goey's, the Stringer. One of the earlier ones where he was mainly a midfielder, rolling through the midfield, but he could burst on forward and hit the scoreboard. And he was so exciting. I mean, he came from Geelong Falcons, so that's why he went back to Geelong, where unfortunately, nothing really happened. The story about this girlfriend stabbing him or something like that. Shit's crazy. Unfortunate end to his career, but what he did at St Kilda, he was a cult figure, a captain, and definitely deserves 8th place. In 7th place, I have got another captain. Consistent with these redrafts, usually captains make the draft because, because being a leader is an important attribute that, everyone wants in a person. Now, in 7th place, I've gone with a ex-Bulldogs captain, Easton Wood. Now, has since retired. He played 188 games, so is the body of work there compared to others? Not really, but he's effectively played 200 games, which is impressive. Now, the reason I have put him so high is because those peak seasons where he led the Dogs to that famous flag. He was, technically the captain of that flag-winning team because of the unfortunate injury to Bob Murphy. That's sort of a big reason why he's so high in the draft. There will be people saying he's too high, this guy's too high in the draft, which I kind of understand. But I mean, what an absolute brilliant defender. Let's talk about the attributes and the ability of this guy in defense. High flying, speckies, spoils, consistent. I mean, as a defender, he's got the full package. The guns as well. I mean, this guy is el perfecto as a defender. Why he's not higher, there are just better names. Maybe he's a bit high, but the premiership, in fact, he was a captain in that premiership. He's been in All Australians before. I think is worthy of 7. Things start to heat up into our top 6. In 6th place, I've got famous Geelong defender Harry Taylor. Now, Harry Taylor would have gone in 5th. He was originally, but I put him down to 6th for a different reason. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that Eastonwood would have gone to Fremantle if he had gone at pick 7, and Fremantle picked Reece Palmer instead. But anyway, let's keep going on with our 6th place, was Harry Taylor. Harry Taylor originally went in pick 17, so still quite high in the draft. He would have gone to Essendon, who picked David Myers in 6th place instead. Who the fuck is David Myers? I'm just looking at him now. David Myers. Oh, David Myers. Of course I know David Myers. Anyway, let's not type it. Let's keep on topic. Harry Taylor, multiple premiership winner. You know, not a captain, but definitely a leader from the back. He's a key position player, key defender, which is an absolute prized possession in the draft, so that's why he's really high. All Australians, one of the best defenders for the last 20 years. Maybe not the best. There are some better defenders coming up in this redraft, okay? And so let's hold our horses on that. But as a player, we don't need to say anything else. He was one of the main reasons why Geelong were so consistent for the last 15 years. He was there for all the flags. Even when he was getting older, he was still really good. He could move up forward as well. So versatility. Look, the reality, there are still 5 better than Harry Taylor, but Harry Taylor is an absolute go-to defender who any team would want. So, in saying that, let's move in to our top 5. In 5th place, who I was contemplating putting 6th, but then I thought, the accolades this guy has won. I mean, he has won 3 premierships. 3 premierships as a captain. A Brownlow. All Australians. One of the greatest captains of all time. Love him or hate him, it's true. It's Trent Cotchin. And after listing all those accolades, I'm now thinking to myself, why is he not in the top 4? Well, there's a couple reasons. I'm going to be completely honest. Trent Cotchin didn't deserve the Brownlow. That is Joe Watson's Brownlow. Look, if he took drugs, then, I don't know, different story. Let's not get political. I think most people know at this point that, you know, it wasn't really illegal what Essendon did. And to be honest, I still think Joe Watson deserves that Brownlow. Definitely not Cotchin and Sam Mitchell. But in saying that, Cotchin was never like a really an elite player. Like, he was never top 3. That's what I mean. Top 3 midfielders in the comp. He was always consistently top 10. You know, his prime from probably 09 to probably 2018. I mean, that body of work is actually crazy. Should I put him in higher place? Maybe. I mean, you all know by now I am a Richmond fan, so I have tried not to be biased with this Trent Cotchin pick. There would be people who have Trent Cotchin first. I mean, quite literally, he's got the most flags in this list. Most flags as a captain. He's the only one of 2 players with the Brownlow on this list. I mean, what more needs to be said? I just think because he's not a key position player, I've got some other key position players in there, and there are just some better players. This draft is stacked. 2007 draft, it started slow with Ward and Scott Thompson, but it is getting stacked, and the top 4 is extremely stacked. Now, Cotchin probably should be 4th place, but let's put him 5th, trying to ignore any bias. I mean, as a leader, this guy, what he changed the history of Richmond, the culture of Richmond. He was the guy, the leader, obviously. 3 flags as a captain, that is remarkable. He will go down as one of Richmond's greatest players ever. He will never be said as the greatest, no chance, but definitely top 10. Definitely the greatest captain in Richmond's history in terms of accolades. And you hear some old Richmond people saying he is. Now, very contentious, and if you're a Richmond fan, you might disagree with that. But I think what Cotchin brings, it isn't quite the flair of some other players higher up in this list, but the consistency and body of work, it is there. He did drop off quite a lot the last sort of 3 years, where a couple of the other players in this list haven't. You know, 2 in the top 4 have aged kind of like fine wine, but we'll get onto those. And in terms of Cotchin's prime, which is probably 2012, the Brownlow year, he still wasn't like this phenomenal midfielder. If you get what I mean? Like I said, this is coming from a Richmond fan. You can't actually see, I'm gonna get this so you know I'm a Richmond fan. Boom! Look at that. Call me a Richmond fan now. Anyway, just thought I'd show off the catalogue. You know what? Should I? Yeah, I can't actually put that up. Anyway, let's get back on track. Enough about Trent Cotchin. Well, let's talk about where Cotchin was picked. Famously, Cotchin went at 2nd place. Obviously, Richmond picked Cotchin. If he would have gone to 5th place, the Doggies could have had Cotchin. They could have had Cotchin. So they've missed out on the GOAT. Not actually. But anyway, let's actually, before we get into our top 4, I want to go through 2 honourable mentions. Now, in this series, often I do honourable mentions. Usually there's more. Now, you could put some more honourable mentions, but there's 2 rucks that I didn't put in. Now, if I was doing this as the top 10 players from the draft, I would put them in. But because, like I said, I'm trying to do this series in the scope of a drafter, like someone drafting these players. We all know rucks aren't important for a flag. I've said it before on so many videos, and it's such common knowledge now that you can win a flag without a great ruck. They can be a pretty shite ruck. Like, there's so many examples of it. But Ben McAvoy, really unlucky. The flags, Hawthorn, body of work as well, being a captain as well. Unfortunately, like, to be a ruck, you've got to be a Nick Nat or a Gorn to get in. Okay, that's just reality, or a Dean Cox. Otherwise, I'm not putting you in. And then Shane Mumford as well. I did if you watch the channel, you'll know I've done a top 10 AFL rucks in the last decade. And I believe McAvoy was 6th place, maybe 5th. And then Mumford was 4th place. Like, they're both around that sort of middle pack. Unfortunately, they don't get in. And you're gonna crucify me, but I've given you my reasoning. Into the top 4, slightly high, but you know what? I put him here anyway, partially because of where he was picked. Now, this guy was originally picked at 75 in the draft. At the bottom, you can't actually see, but it is, if you look at the AFL 2007 AFL draft, he's the last name of the draft before the preseason and rookie draft. Going with Tex Taylor Walker. Now, if Taylor Walker had have gone at 4th place, he would have gone to Melbourne. Now, before I go into that, by the way, the Dogs in 5th place did pick Jared Grant. Sad story about microphone. Couldn't quite get his body right. Melbourne in 4th place picked Cale Morton, who I don't remember doing anything. Melbourne traditionally suck ass in these drafts. But they could have had Taylor Walker. And, I mean, Taylor Walker, he started a little bit slow, as many key forwards do. But then those sort of seasons where Adelaide were challenging for top 4, you know, in the 2013, 14, 15 seasons, that's when the mullet started to come to play. And that's when Tex Walker started to become this beast. Him and Ivan Maric, the mullet duo. I mean, what an absolute duo. Now, Tex Walker, all Australians. Unfortunately, he hasn't won the flag, which is sad. You know, made a grand final, was a captain of Adelaide, wasn't quite as successful as a captain, to be completely honest. The reason I put him so high is he is still one of the top 15 players in the comp, top 5 key forwards, arguably the best key forward in the comp, given that he's been carrying Adelaide on his back for over 10 years. That's sort of why I put him above Trent Cotchin, and he's a key position player. Like I've already said in this draft or redrafting series, key position players are fucking good. Now, Taylor Walker, you know, year after year he's performing. He's always been high up in the Coleman. I don't think he's ever been out and out the best key forward in a particular season, okay? But, you know, like I said, recent years he's been aging like fine wine, and I think Adelaide fans know that once he retires, there will be quite a major drop-off in their form, given how reliant they are on Tex Walker, even at his very old age. Now, this leads me on to my top 3, which is the most stacked top 3 in any of these redrafts yet. You would know that, given that Cotchin and Walker aren't in the top 3. In 3rd place, I've got someone whose body of work isn't quite there, okay? And that's probably the reason he's not as high. This guy is one of the best, I think, in his prime, the best player I've ever seen, okay? Well, definitely one of the best players I've ever seen. It's Cyril Rioli. Now, Cyril Rioli originally went at pick number 12 to the Hawthorn Football Club. If he would have gone to pick 3, would have gone to the West Coast Eagles, who chose Chris Marston, who was a pretty decent player for the Eagles. Unfortunately, he didn't make the draft or the honourable mentions. Surioli, the period of time where he was winning the flag to Hawthorn. I mean, he's won a Norm Smith, crazy. 4 flags, crazy, absolutely crazy, like the accolades. And just in those prime seasons, he was untouchable, absolutely untouchable. Like I said, in his prime, you know, those sort of seasons where he was on fire, he was so fun to watch and so scary. Like, if you lined up against Hawthorn, the player you were most scared of was Surioli. He was a big game player, he kicked massive goals, he performed on the big stage. I mean, the Norm Smith speaks to that. The reason he's not in the top 2 is the body of work. Like I said, he retired pretty early due to some circumstances. And there have been rumors at the time recording early January, there've been little little rumors here and there about him coming back to playing footy. There always kind of have been with Cyril, just because he retired so early and, you know, he was so good. Injuries also absolutely fucked him later on in his career, just before he retired. But it is sort of a sad story, given, in my eyes, he's the best small forward to play the game in my time. Look, I'm not sure about the fucking late 1800s or early 1900s, who was good then, but I mean, I think this guy's head and shoulders above Eddie Betts, Stephen Milne, any other small forwards you want to put in. Now, this leads me on to my top 2. In second place, and this is gonna absolutely kill me what I'm about to say. In second place, I've got Patrick Dangerfield, and you might be thinking, who the fuck is in first place? Because Dangerfield, he's finally a flag winner. He's a Brownlow winner. He is something like 7 or 8 time All-Australian, like a stupid amount. Has captained Geelong as of 2023. He was a captain, so he's a leader as well, and everyone's always known he's a leader. Why is he not in first place? Well, let's just quickly talk about Danger. He went at pick 10 to the Adelaide Football Club, so really good pick from Adelaide. Richmond picked Cochin at pick 2, so he would have gone to Richmond if he had gone at pick 2. Mate, I would have fucking taken that every day in the week, twice on a Sunday. Getting Dangerfield, fucking hell. Before we go into Danger, let's just go to my first place, who is a key position player. I think the best key defender in a period of time, arguably in history. It's Alex Rance. And crucify me. Come on, bring in the hate. Bring in the hate. Hate from there, hate from there, hate from everywhere. I need it. Soak it in, because I've got Alex Rance at first place, and let me tell you why. Actually, before we do that, I'll just tell you where Alex Rance was originally picked at pick 18. Pick number 1 went to the Carlton Football Club. They did pick Matty Cruiser, who could have been that guy, but unfortunately, he wasn't because of injuries. So, why is Dangerfield lower down? Well, let's talk about Alex Rance really quick. Multiple Australian winner, multiple best and fairest winner. He's actually only won the 1 flag. Yeah, he has only won the 1 flag because he was injured, the other one. But as a Richmond fan, from 2013 or like 2012 to 2016, our best player and our only shining light was really Alex Rance. I mean, he was saving our bacon. If you ask any Richmond fan, you know, from the sort of early 2010s to mid 2010s, who was the guy? Who was the player? Who was our team? It was Alex Rance. Now, Alex Rance, should he be second place? Maybe. Is the body of work there compared to Dangerfield? No. I mean, Rance, a lot of speculation why he retired. I've heard, as a Richmond fan with some inside knowledge, I've heard so many stories about Alex Rance, about why he retired, which I won't get into. But the reality is, Dangerfield's body of work is much better because I think he started a little bit quicker than Rance. Once Rance retired, Dangerfield continued to be not the greatest player in the comp, but definitely one of the better ones. Now, key to my argument is Footy on 9 very recently, and I can get the graphic here, hopefully. They did a, 23-man squad of the greatest players this century. And in the squad, you'll see Alex Rance and you won't see Dangerfield. Now, the reason being is I think Dangerfield is obviously a better player than Rance will ever be, right? But in their position, Alex Rance in his prime and in terms of like what he sort of did for a team when it mattered to win flags, I mean, he's a much better big game player than Dangerfield Alex Rance. Watch the finals. Him as a defender, as a key defender, like I said, arguably one of the best ever. Where Dangerfield, he doesn't even make the 23-man squad of, Footy on 9 23-man squad of Team of the Century. So, bit of speculation there. I mean, I think Dangerfield is overrated. Let me tell you why. He's explosive, he's amazing, he's fun to watch, but he can't kick. He just bombs it on his foot. He doesn't have the deft touch of a Dustin Martin, a Gary Ablett, of a Zach Merritt. I know Zach Merritt doesn't belong in the conversation of these guys, but that's just a little bit why I've never really rated Dangerfield. In terms of his prime, Dangerfield was scary, very scary. 2015, 16, 17, probably 2016, I mean the Brownlow year. But I've just got to go with Rance. Key position player. I feel like if you had to take a player, I would rather take Rance, because I feel like that sort of key defender is more likely to win you a flag than a Dangerfield. And we saw that with Danger only just winning a flag when he was effectively finished as a player. Like, he wasn't the same guy. Obviously, because it's so old. It's splitting hairs, or whatever it's called. I've just gone with Rance. Comment down below. In fact, comment down below your whole top 10 redraft. But I am very much under the assumption that you are going to absolutely rip me to shreds for putting Rance first. But I've done it, and I'm sticking with it, because Alex Rance in his position was better than Danger in his position. Full stop. Hasta la vista. Okay, do you agree? Do you not? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment all the hate you want to comment, because I'm ready for it. I'm ready. So fucking ready. Anyway, that is the redraft done. Stay tuned for more redrafts, because I do these all the time, and I love them. Who doesn't love a redraft? Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed. And I'll be seeing you. Oh, actually, before you do, make sure you follow the TikTok, FTFooty. I post it all the time. I'm nearing, at the time recording, I'm basically at 5,000. I don't know what I'll be when I post this. Hopefully towards the 10, probably not. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers here at the time recording once again. I'm hopefully a bit higher by the time I post this. Anyway, enough rambling on. Thanks for watching.